Hi, boys and girls. Today's social studies lesson is going to be about how schools and the roles of women changed over time. So today's lesson is going to focus on schools. How have schools changed over time? Here are two characters, Mary and Mariko. This is Mary. She is 7 years old and grew up in the year 1865. That was about 150 years ago. She lives on a homestead in Kansas, part of the United States. Just like we discussed about Sam last week, a homestead is basically a big farmland where a family or a few families live on. This is Mariko. Mariko is 7 years old and lives in the present time. Present means today. Mariko lives in a city called Boston, Massachusetts. Mary and Mariko are alike in many ways. Both girls like to play outside. They both go to school and live with their family. They both like to go fishing. Mary and Mariko have very different lives though. So this is Mary's community life and school life. Mary is lucky to live in a community that has a school. In Kansas, where she lives, only about half of the children go to school. So a long time ago, the time when Mary lived, children did not have to go to school. Mary's parents want her to learn how to read and write. White children and black children have to go to separate schools, which is wrong and unfair. This is called segregation. Today, this practice is illegal. That means it's not allowed. It's against the law. Mary goes to school every day of the week except for Sunday. So she goes to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Not like us. Now we only go to school Monday through Friday. School begins in October and ends in May. There is no school in session during the months of May, June, July, August, and September. That's because those are the main planting and harvesting seasons, and her family will need her help on the farm. So school was based around the family's needs. If the family needs as many family members at home to help them with planting crops and harvesting crops, the children had to stay home. So, and even I would imagine the teacher had a family who had farmland and also has to help. So during this time, there was no school because helping at home was the most important. Mary only has to walk about 10 minutes to get to school. Some kids that come from farther away, have to walk for almost an hour to and from school each day. So in the slides earlier, they said that Mary was lucky that she had a school in her hometown, which means in her community, which means her school was close. But if her community did not have a school, Mary would have to walk very, very far to go to the next school. A few kids that have ponies ride them to school. So either you have a horse or a mule, something to help you get to school a little faster so you don't have to walk so far. Mary's school is a building with one room. There is only one teacher. All the grades are taught together in the same room by the same teacher. Mary is the youngest student in her class. So a long time ago, schools had kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade all together in one room. Sometimes they'd even have older kids, like high school kids, with first graders. They would all be learning from the same teacher in the same room. The oldest is 13. So not high school, junior high school, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. That's a big difference. Imagine being in a classroom in 1st grade and having a 7th grader in your same classroom and you guys are learning together. That would be a lot of work for the teacher and quite tricky for the kids. Everyone has a job to do in the schoolhouse. Some of the younger kids help to sweep the floor, while the older ones chop wood for the hearth. A fire helps to keep the schoolhouse warm during the winter months. That's very different than our schools. We don't need any students to chop wood to make fire to keep the school warm. Mary and her classmates sit on benches or at desks during the teacher's lesson. They listen to the teacher talk, then try to memorize what she tells them, and then repeat it out loud. So in our school today, we don't really work on memorizing things. We practice them. We practice them over and over. Kind of like the way we practice in OG. We make the sounds over and over again so that we can remember them and that we can practice them in our reading, in our writing, if we see it on a box, in our life at home. Their teacher has them write on slates. So slate is kind of like a small piece of chalkboard. In school, they have lessons in reading, writing, penmanship, and arithmetic, which is math. Now we're going to talk about Mariko in school. Mariko goes to school Monday through Friday. She is off for 2 months in the summer. During the summer months, she plays outside and has fun. Mariko doesn't have any special jobs to do in the summer except to be a kid. So this is quite different than Mary's life. Mary went to school 6 days a week. Mariko only goes 5 days a week. Mary had 5 months off of school. Mariko only has 2 months off of school, just like us. But during Mary's 5 months off, she had to work to help her family. Mariko just gets to have some fun. She gets to play outside, probably go hang out with friends. But Mary didn't get to do those things. She had to do work on the farm. The school bus picks up all the kids in her neighborhood each morning. Even though she lives close to school, she still gets to take the bus. In school, Mariko is in a class with kids her own age. So she didn't have to walk to school, and she lives still pretty close to the school. And everyone in Mariko's class is her age, so she doesn't have 7th graders in her class. There is one main teacher and a lot of other teachers that come in to work with kids throughout the day. Kind of how we have art and music and gym. That's the same thing that Mariko has. Mariko has different teachers for art and music. There you go. Mariko's teacher gives the students in her class jobs like doing the lunch count, passing out paper, and filling in the weather chart. Mariko learns all sorts of neat things in school, like science and social studies, math, and reading. She loves centers and cool games on the smartboard. Mariko's teacher likes to make learning fun. Mariko's school welcomes all children, regardless of their gender, skin color, ability, or religion. So this is a little bit different than Mary as well. In Mary's school, they only learned reading, writing, and math. In schools today, there are all kinds of subjects that we learn, that we teach. Science and social studies and music and art. So boys and girls, we learned a lot about schools long ago and schools today. In this worksheet, you're going to fill in 2 things that you learned about schools long ago that are different than schools today. And then you will write 2 things about schools today that are different from schools long ago.